Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is a life well spent. My name is Kelly, and on this channel, I'm documenting my financial journey. It is Friday, August 30th, which means it is the end of August. It is like 6 in the morning, end of August, though. So what I'm actually going to do in this video is show you all about my September budget. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, I do a zero-based budget, which means before the month begins, I've made a plan for every dollar that's coming in. It's going to my expenses, it's going to savings, it's going to investing, whatever. It's all got a plan to do. That doesn't make any sense, but it's all got a plan. It's all got a plan for it. All right, so my income, $3,781.50. So that's my day job. That may actually change. There's been some confusion at my work as to whether or not we have Roth options in our 403b 457b. The company that we use says, oh no, we don't, you guys don't have Roth. You're like the only place around, but that we serve, but you don't. So that's weird. And then my boss was telling me about, like, oh, you should open up one of these accounts, but it has to be Roth. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought we didn't have Roth. And so, she and HR were talking, and HR was like, yeah, we have Roth. And I was like, well, they don't think that we do. And so there's been some back and forth, and I don't know if it's set up. So anyway, I set up documentation to do a 457B. And it's like, it's all kind of set to go, except like how much money and what I'm investing in, because I said to them, I said, listen, if this can't be Roth, then I'm not going to do it right now. So let's just hold off and we'll figure out like what's going on with the Roth situation. And I have yet to hear back from, I think like my company and that company are communicating, and I just have yet to hear back anything other than like, my boss and my HR is like, we definitely have Roth, so we'll square it away. And then they sent us documents that like stated what we have. So I don't know if it's just not set up at the company yet or what. The company that manages the 403Bs and 457Bs, I'm not really sure. But anyway, if it gets set up, I will start contributing probably this month. I definitely won't on the first pay of this month, because that's going to be in a week and they will have kind of processed the pay already for that. So that one's out, but maybe by the next pay. And maybe not, I don't know. I'm sort of at the mercy of others for that. So that's okay. I at least want to open it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to contribute, because there's fees involved. It's like 4.75% or something like that. But part of the reason I'm opening it up is because I'm hoping that I'll be able to negotiate in my next contract to do matching contributions to it. So that would be a whole different ballgame. Like I'll pay the 4.25% or whatever it is, to get matches on my contributions. So stay tuned for that one. I don't know if that will change or not. We'll see it by the end of the month. Okay. So next up, $105 from my mom. This is my mom's share of some things that we share. Like, she is on my cell phone plan. She gives me $50 to put towards my contribution to a brokerage account for my niece. I do 50, she does 50. And I might just start having her set it up and like send it straight to, but I think at this point it's just easier to do it this way. So she does that, and then the rest of it is like her portion of some of the shared subscription services that we have. Total income, $3,886.50. Next up, my mortgage. My mortgage payment dropped. Hallelujah. Like $40. It was like $689 before, I think. $688 something. Well, hang on, let me just pop this open. $688.77. And now it's $648.67. So it went down, which I'm pretty sure is because of PMI. I knew that I am at the point where I have like 20% equity in the home, but basically I've paid off 20% of the mortgage that I borrowed, is what it comes down to. So that's exciting. And I actually got there in January, but I reached out to the bank and I was like, what happens now? What happens now? What happens now? And they were like, well, it will just come off naturally in November, or you can drop it sooner if you get an appraisal done and the appraisal comes back and, indicates 20%, whatever, whatever. So I was like, I mean, if I look at the value of my house anyway, like if I go on Zillow and look at the Zestimate, and even take like the median of that, like I have long been 20% equity, but I, which was actually news to me, truthfully, because I feel like this is such an old house. There's no way it's gaining that much in value. And I'm like, oh my God, bought this house for like $105,000, a little under 105. I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell it for like 110 at best. So at any rate, I really didn't expect to gain a lot from like house value. But at the point where in January, I kind of calculated out my PMI payments, and it came to about the same as a like the cheapest um appraisal that I could get. And I thought, well, then I'm just not going to spend the time and effort getting an appraisal if it's really, like I'm going to pay up front money that I would just have been paying all year. So like whatever, I'm not doing it. Not worried about it. So anyway, my September payment is always different because I bought my house in July. They always kind of give you a month and then your payments start. Um, so after like my escrow balance is cleared and all of that jazz, that's when I get a new payment. So I'm guessing they sort of projected out that like I'm only going to pay so many PMI payments and then that will be done. And so I won't need to worry about it anymore. So 648.67, pretty psyched. It just got me $40 back. Electric 65.97. I will take that because good God, it has been an obnoxiously hot summer. Like obnoxiously hot. Last month, my electric bill was $58.97, and I spent 2 weeks not in my house. Like not really at all. I'd stop by to like water my plants. So no AC running, hardly any electricity running. That 58 whatever dollars was done in the last 2 weeks. So there was a little bit of break in the heat last week, which was nice, but like the heat is back up, air conditioning's back on. So yeah, 65.97. I'll take that. Could have been a lot worse. Natural gas, 24.41. This sort of cracks me up because like I may be cooking a little bit on the stove, but that's it. I'm sure that there's probably a minimum usage amount, but there we go. Whatever. Sewer, $63. That's a flat rate. Water, I up to $30, just for like watering plants and things like that. I did that last month. I tend to do that in the summer, but it did rain a lot, so I don't think I needed to water nearly as much. So I'm not sure I'm gonna even need close to that. I'll probably be back down to 18.97 again, which is it's not really a flat rate, but it's like the minimum charge, minimum usage. So I almost never go over it unless it's something weird like my toilet is running or um it's like a really, really dry summer and I'm having to like water a lot. Garbage, $42. I think it is going to be a garbage month. I pay it out quarterly, so $42 for that. Internet, $58. It's just a flat rate. Cell phone, I am actually gonna change that. I just realized that my mother went on vacation and definitely used up some of her data. She actually, it might not be anymore, but at one point she used more data than I do. We split a 3 gig plan, and we almost never go over that. We were doing like single gig plans, um, and we would almost never go over that. But if we did, it was me that went over, not her. So it's strange to see her actually going over. So it's not a big deal, not the end of the world. Um, so yeah, 75. She'll give me more than what she would have planned if we end up going over, which I do know we already have. I've bumped it to I think it's 10 gigs for 65 or something because we definitely hit hit our 3 gigs. Groceries, I budgeted about $300. I'm really going to try to make a conscious effort throughout September to eat things in my uh, freezer and really kind of get that cleaned out. But it is soup season, or it's about to be soup season. It's so exciting. I cannot wait. So there will be some things I need to buy, but like typically, like I have stew meat. Actually, I think I have a whole chicken down there I can do things with. So anyway, pretty excited about that. Life insurance. I pay my life insurance out quarterly. So there we go, $7.50. It's not actually life insurance. I thought it was for the longest time, but it's actually like an accidental death and dismemberment policy, which I don't know. It's $7.50 every quarter. So like I don't really feel like it's the end of the world, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like if I cancel it, I am just asking for it. So it's irrational. I know. Gas, $200. I don't really have any kind of trips or anything planned. So I think that that'll actually still be pretty good. House garden, 25. I just kind of do that just for little things in the house, like when I, run out of Ziploc baggies or something. Restaurant, $75. This is a place where like I really need to start trimming myself back. And I might actually just do cash from now on so that I kind of have no choice but to stick to like what I'm doing and help me rein that in. I think trivia is starting back up again, so that is going to get more challenging. Fitness, 41.85. That's just the cost of the gym that I go to. It's a YMCA. I go to a pool, which I'm filming this video right now instead of swimming because the pool is closed. And I did not learn that until I got there. So it's very annoying. Personal, $100. Miscellaneous, $50. Always need a miscellaneous category. My niece's brokerage, $100. Again, 50 from me, 50 from my mom. $70.83 to my brokerage. I have said this in videos past, but if it's your first time here, I realized that between contributing to my HSA, which I max out, and my Roth IRA, which I also max out, I was really, really, really close to having $1,000 a month going into like investments, future retirement accounts, that sort of thing. So I'm $70.83 short. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm putting it in there. My original plan was to be like, okay, well, if I have extra money at the end of the month, once I've like hit all of my different savings goals, then I would just dump that money into the brokerage account. And then once I realized I was close to 1,000, I thought, I can part with $70.83 a month. Let's do that. Roth IRA, $500. For total expenses, $2,477.23. These last two categories, I don't usually budget for necessarily. It's more just to help me keep track of like if I have gone to a conference and I'm getting reimbursed, I keep it in here so I know exactly how much to ask back for. And then, well, and I shouldn't say that. Like I keep the receipts, I can total them, but this is an easier way for me to total them. And same thing with my mom. If there's things that I have bought for her, then I, know how much at the end of the month that it's there. So now I have to change some of these actually because I adjusted I'm overspending by $35. So it'll come out of here. So just have to fix that quick. So at this point, like I am looking at just throwing money into my emergency fund. I have spent out of different funds. Like I have spent out of my travel fund. There is no longer, yikes, there's no longer $2,000 in there because I have booked a cruise. So, and I've talked about that in one of my like weekly transaction videos. So booked a cruise, super psyched about it. And at this point, like I'm not going to work on putting money back into that fund until I get my emergency fund up to $20,000. So she's going to sit there for a while, possibly in November, because in November I have a 3-pay month. So there might be, there should be an extra like $2,000 ish, close to $2,000 paycheck. So I can hopefully like finish the emergency fund and then start like funding the other, funding the other, what am I talking about? Funding the other accounts, anything that is a little bit short. My clothing account is a little bit short now because I made some purchases, so it's all good. Not worried about putting them back in right now. So $1,128.27 to the emergency fund, $155 to my subscription fund, $17 to my Nittany Lion Club fund, $50 back into my giving fund, and $59 back into my car insurance fund. I just had to pay that out in August. So I paid out in August and February. And I keep in more in there than I need just in case, like helps me deal with the fluctuations. Plus I also know that at some point I'm going to be needing to buy another car. And I am hoping I will get another like 5 years out of my car now, but oh, she's got about 195,000 miles on it right now. She's, let me see, it's a 2008, 16 years old. And unfortunately, like I don't have the mechanic skills or tools or anything like that to really keep her running without having to, run to a mechanic and paying a lot of money. So I'm getting to the point where I'm needing to decide, like, is it worth to just, I don't know. I really don't want to give it up. I want to try to at least drive it as soon as I get to my emergency fund. Or as soon as I top out my emergency fund, next year you'll see a new line item in there, and that will be my new car fund, because I really need that fund going so that like in the event my car dies, I'm not stuck borrowing money for a car, because at this point like it is almost I don't want to spend like $5,000 on a beater that puts me in the same position that my current car has me in. So I would definitely want something newer. I don't want a brand new car, but I also don't, I'd have to crunch the numbers because I see that like borrowing money for a used car, you might get like 5.5 to 6.5 to 7.5% on that car, that loan. A new car, like 3%. So I'd have to crunch the numbers and kind of see like even if I'm paying 5 and 6% on a used car, like I might be ultimately paying less. So, or because I'm buying a new car with such a low interest rate, I may ultimately end up be paying less, even though I'm buying more of a car and a newer car and whatever. And it just drives me nuts. So anyway, I'm hopeful that I can get the car to last to the point where I can save up, about 20 grand. And I think that like $1,000 a month is about what I could save. I mean, even without that, like what was it? Yeah, almost $1,200. I could probably squeeze 1,200. I could probably squeeze somewhere if I needed to, but if I could do 1,200 a month, um, plus like the 3 pay, come on, 1,200 a month. Oh my God. I mean, that's $14,400 right there. Plus, I'd have two extra pays. So let's just assume I could take 1,200 from each of those pays. Um, and I get about 1,000 in. I sell back my vacation days, and I get an incentive pay for our health incentive. So that's about just under $18,000. So that's pretty close. Like I feel like I could save that up in a year if I really just super duper honed in and focused on that, plus a tax return, which this year will not be a lot because I converted an IRA, but um, it might be another 1,000. So like 18. I mean, if I got to the point where I was like at 18,000, I would probably pull some from my emergency fund the rest of the way to like be able to buy the car in cash. So it's going to be my goal. It's going to be, Kelly's going to be piling up car money. And I figure worst case scenario, if it dies sooner, and I, have 15 in my car fund and I put 15 in and I have to get a loan out for the 10, if I can do 15 in a year, I can pay off 10 in a year. So I can just kind of hammer it and be done with it if I have to. So, well, that is good to know for me. We'll see. We'll see how life takes it. If I can get a couple more years out of it, then I can get even more money, and that will be quite nice. I sort of have to figure what I want to do though. I feel like if I put it in a CD, maybe I'll do that. I'll keep an equal amount in a high yield savings account so that, like, if I had to use that, I could just pull it from the high yield savings, and then when the CD matures, drop it in there. I don't know. It's a lot of things to think about. Anyway, I think this video has dragged on long enough. So, if you're still watching, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye.